What's the first thing that pops into your head when you think Rising of the Shield Hero? Slavery, injustice, smoking hot raccoon girls. How about ice cream? I'm gonna let you guys in on a little something. See, the same time Shield Hero Season 1 first started airing, I was in a dark place. Despite being a massively loyal fan of isekai, I started to grow tired of the genre. Tired of the same old tropes, repeated season after season. Tired of the same hollow plot lines, loosely held together by shallow gimmicks. Cell Phone in Another World, Goblin Slayer, the 469th installment of Sword Art Online. All complete letdowns. And it was at that point where I experienced something that very likely many of you had also experienced. A longing for something more. That's when it hit me. The all too familiar story, but this time, twisted and warped. Characters who experience real struggle and edge, not just for the sake of being edgy, but to tell a story. This was a tale of revenge, cold and sweet. Kinda like ice cream. And just like ice cream, the more I consumed, the more I started to realize, this shit's really bad for me. You see, the more invested I became in Shield Hero, the more Naofumi's thirst for vengeance became my own. You know what I'm talking about. The confusion you share when he first gets grifted by Multi, the subtle rage that washes over you when no one takes his side, and the cathartic release that makes you go, ah, when he finally clears his name and gets justice. Revenge stories are one of the most intriguing kind of stories to listen to. The sweetest brand of tea to spill after a long day at work. There's something about them that just grabs us and pulls us in. Did you know that 20% of all murders that happen in developed countries are motivated by revenge? Yeah, that's a lot of murders. Even just thinking about getting revenge on someone you hate is enough to send a rush of activity to the reward center of your brain, the caudate nucleus. Hell, Jesus himself tells us that in order to be a good and righteous person, we gotta be able to lay down our own personal brand of karma from time to time. This isn't a skit, by the way. The Bible actually flat out endorses revenge. So, why is revenge such a powerful emotion? And why were human beings so drawn to it since the inception of our species? In this video, we're gonna dig into the psychology of revenge to understand what revenge actually is, what it does for us, and most importantly, to figure out why we love eating ice cream so damn much. In Season 1 of Shield Hero, we find our protagonist Naofumi out of luck for the most part. He gets summoned to another world as the tank of a party that has no healers. He then proceeds to get shafted a few times by the various NPCs who hate him and quickly grows resentful. So resentful, in fact, that he willingly destroys his own reputation and trades in his morals just to be able to get back at the buttholes who crossed him. According to a group of scientists at the University of Haifa in Israel, Naofumi, by doing this, was trying to re-equilibrate the gains and losses caused by the assault he suffered at the hands of King What's-His-Face and his sociopathic daughter, Multi. Basically, revenge is viewed by these scientists as a zero-sum game. When one group wins, the other loses. And boy did Naofumi lose. So the main motivator behind his drive for revenge was to level the playing field and make the dynamic dumbasses suffer just as much as he did, all for the cathartic release when he finally gets his payback. Only, that doesn't actually happen in real life. Imagine you were Naofumi for a second, only this time you were summoned to the world as a merchant instead of a hero. You and your group of merchant friends are just trying to get by in life when you stumble across this amazing investment opportunity. It's a big, beautiful farm run by beastmen. Ethics aside, the beastmen seem to really know their stuff. They sing to the cows, let the chicken run free, and only feed their livestock the highest quality fodder, which they themselves make on the farm. You, being the crafty isekai merchant you are, see value in this farm where your friends don't. Organic food hasn't been invented in this world yet, and the nobles you know will pay top dollar for better tasting and healthier food. You convince your friends and assure them that if they all cooperated and invested in the farm, the entire group would stand to benefit. The farm would be split 5 ways, and all of you will get an equal slice of the pie. Everyone agrees and puts their money in. Steve, from the group, volunteers to handle the paperwork, and the rest of you go to the tavern to celebrate the start of your new venture. The very next day, you find that Steve pulled a fast one on you and now owns half the farm. The other half is split 4 ways among the rest of you, 12.5% each. Needless to say, your group is super pissed. You report him to King What's-His-Face, and because of your strong connections to the nobility, he decides to help you out. Naofumi, he says, I'll give you 2 choices. You can either walk away and do nothing about Steve, or you can use my royal powers to confiscate all of his shares in the farm. But if you do that, I'll get the shares. Plus, you all have to pay me half of your shares because I'm a greedy old fart. What would you do? Do you take revenge on Steve but sacrifice your own shares? Or do you just cut your losses and let Steve get away with collecting huge profits from the farm every month for the rest of his life? Well, 3 psychologists in Virginia ran a close variant of this experiment in a lab. What they found was that everyone who was given the option to punish the traitor took it, even at their own expense. But in this study, not everyone was given that choice. Some people had to just sit there and take the injustice on the chin, being completely helpless to do anything about the traitor. Fast forward a couple hours and the psychologists ran a survey. How do you feel right now? Interestingly, the participants who chose to take revenge ended up feeling worse than the ones who didn't. That's weird, right? Because you'd think getting revenge on the person who crossed you would give you some closure and resolve any hard feelings from the betrayal. But that's the exact opposite of what they found happens in real life. Why? According to the psychologists, when we choose not to get revenge, we can downplay the significance of the event in our heads. Nah, it wasn't a big deal, so I just let it slide. But when we choose payback, we're telling ourselves that it, in fact, was a big deal. Because we went out of our way to punish the person who crossed us, even at the expense of our own well-being. So instead of providing closure, getting revenge keeps the wound open, fresh, and as a result, we think about what happened to us a lot more, sometimes to the point where it can actually cause us, the victims, to sink into clinical depression. So then, if revenge is so bad for us, then why does the thought of it feel so good? On an individual level, you get revenge on someone to deter them from committing the same offense against you in the future, sometimes at the expense of your own well-being. If you're getting bullied at school and you get revenge by socking the bully right in the nose, there's a really good chance he'll never bother you again. But there's also a chance that he'll come back, but this time with his friends. But at a community level, getting revenge seems like a way better deal. If your classmate's the one that punches the bully, there's a good chance he'll rethink his bullying ways and stop bullying everyone else, you included. But if the bully decides to come back with his friends, then it's not your problem. Your classmate has a giant target on his back now, sure, but everyone else is better for it. So the rage you feel that drives you to get revenge when someone wrongs you isn't actually for your own good. It's for the good of broader society at your expense. That's why in the psychology world, revenge is known as altruistic punishment. You're punishing someone else's bad behavior for the good of the community, but it's you who's bearing the brunt of the risk. So guys, if you take away just one thing from this video, please let it be this. Don't get revenge. Remember, revenge is like ice cream. It tastes really good when you eat it, but it's pretty bad for you in the long run. Let's not be collectively fooled by our monkey brains into unwittingly taking one for the team. Let's be selfish from time to time and let karma handle it. We'll feel better and benefit more from it in the long run. Back to Shield Hero. Why do we like it so much? Long story short, it's because we're getting the best of both worlds when we're watching it. We get to vicariously experience the primal satisfaction of getting revenge without having to take responsibility for the repercussions. So yeah, that's about all I have for you. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.